Elena Vasquez walked through the glass corridors of New Geneva Station, her heels clicking on the polished floor. Through the massive windows, she could see Earth turning slowly below, its blue oceans and white clouds looking peaceful in the morning sun. She had been Earth's main ambassador for 5 years now, ever since the aliens first made contact with humanity. Today was another meeting with the Zephyrians, the tall, gray-skinned aliens who had become Earth's main trading partners. Their ships looked like silver teardrops floating in space, elegant and advanced. The humans had been amazed when they first arrived 15 years ago, offering friendship and technology that seemed like magic. Elena entered the main meeting room where 3 Zephyrians waited for her. Their leader, Trade Minister Vexthul, stood nearly 8 feet tall with large black eyes and skin that shimmered like metal. He spoke through a small device that translated his thoughts into human words. Ambassador Vasquez. Vexthul's voice came from the translator, smooth and emotionless. We are pleased to continue our profitable relationship with your species. Elena smiled and sat down at the long table. We're grateful for everything the Confederation has done for us. The faster-than-light engines you gave us have changed everything. This was partly true. The alien FTL drives had allowed humans to travel to nearby star systems and set up small colonies on Mars and Europa. But what Elena didn't say was that human scientists had been studying those drives for years, learning how they worked and making improvements the aliens had never thought of. Your people are quick learners, Vexthul said, though still quite primitive compared to the older races in the Confederation. We hope that with time and patience humans might become useful members of galactic society. Elena kept smiling, but inside she felt angry. The aliens always talked about humans like they were children who needed guidance. They acted like giving humanity basic space travel was a huge favor. When Elena knew that human technology was advancing faster than the aliens realized. We have new mining quotas for your consideration, another Zephyrian said, sliding a datapad across the table. The Confederation requires more rare Earth minerals from your planet. In return, we will provide additional food processing equipment and medical supplies. Elena looked at the numbers and tried not to show her surprise. The aliens wanted 3 times more minerals than before, but were offering less in return. It was a bad deal, but she nodded anyway. I'll need to discuss this with the Earth Council, she said, but I'm sure we can work something out. After the meeting ended and the aliens left, Elena took a private elevator down to the deepest levels of the station. Her security badge opened doors that didn't exist on any building plans. She walked through a long tunnel that led to a hidden control room filled with screens and computers. Admiral Sarah Chen looked up from a bank of monitors showing images from across the solar system. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. Elena had known her since the early days of First Contact, when both women were part of the secret committee that decided how humanity should respond to the aliens. How did the meeting go? Sarah asked. Same as always, Elena said, sitting down in a chair next to the Admiral. They want more resources for less payment. And Vexthul made his usual comments about how primitive we are. Sarah smiled coldly. Good. The longer they think we're helpless, the better. She turned to one of the screens, which showed a feed from a hidden camera on the Zephyrian ship. What they don't know is that we've been recording everything they say when they think we can't hear them. Elena watched as the screen showed the 3 aliens in their ship's bridge. Without their translators on, they spoke in their own language. But human computers had learned to understand Zephyrian speech patterns. The humans are even more stupid than we thought, Vexthul was saying to his companions. They actually believe we want to be their friends. Soon the Confederation will have stripped this planet of everything valuable, and these creatures will be begging for scraps. Another alien laughed. The mining ships will be here within the year. Once we have full maps of their defenses, the conquest fleets can move in. Just like we did with the Corvin homeworld. Elena felt her stomach turn cold. They're planning to invade us. We've suspected it for months, Sarah said. Our intelligence people have been putting together pieces of information from across the galaxy. The Confederation doesn't make friends. They find useful planets, study them for weaknesses, then take them over. They've done this to dozens of species. Sarah stood up and walked to another screen that showed a star map of the local galaxy. Red dots marked planets that had been conquered by the Confederation in the past century. There were hundreds of them. The good news is that we've been preparing for this since the day they arrived, Sarah said. While they think we're struggling to understand their basic technology, Our real scientists have been working in secret bases around the solar system. Elena had heard rumors about these secret projects but had never been told the details. What kind of preparations? Sarah pressed a button and the room's main screen lit up with an image that made Elena gasp. It showed a massive shipyard hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid, with dozens of sleek warships under construction. The ships looked nothing like the clumsy human vessels the aliens had seen. These were predatory and deadly, covered in weapon systems that seemed to bend space around them. "We call it the Hidden Fleet Initiative," Sarah said. "For 15 years, humanity's best minds have been reverse engineering alien technology and improving on it. We've built weapons and ships that the Confederation has never seen. We've created new types of armor, faster engines, and energy shields that can stop anything they can throw at us." Another screen showed similar shipyards on the dark side of the moon, in deep ocean trenches on Earth and inside the rings of Saturn. Hundreds of warships were nearly complete, all hidden from alien sensors by advanced stealth technology. "But why keep it secret?" Elena asked. "Why not just tell them we're strong enough to defend ourselves?" Sarah turned back to the alien conversation on the monitor. Vexthal was now talking about specific Earth cities that would make good slave labor camps after the conquest. "Because if they knew how strong we really are, they would bring their entire military against us all at once," Sarah said. "This way, when they come with what they think is enough force to crush helpless humans, they'll get the surprise of their lives." Elena stared at the hidden fleet on the screens. Each ship looked like it could fight 10 alien vessels and win. There were carriers that could launch swarms of fighter craft, battleships with guns that could crack planets, and stealth destroyers that could appear and disappear like ghosts. "How long until they attack?" Elena asked. Sarah checked a data display. "Our spies in the Confederation report that their conquest fleet is gathering at a staging area 2 systems away. They'll probably move within the next few months, and we'll be ready?" Sarah smiled, and for the first time Elena saw something dangerous in the Admiral's eyes. "Oh, we'll be ready. The aliens think they're about to conquer a planet of helpless primitives. Instead, they're going to learn what happens when you threaten humanity's home." Elena looked back at the screens showing Earth from space. The planet looked so peaceful and vulnerable, just the way the aliens saw it. But now she knew the truth. Hidden beneath those oceans and inside those seemingly empty asteroids was the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen. The Zephyrians and their Confederation friends were about to make the biggest mistake in their species' history. They had spent 15 years studying what they thought was humanity's weakness. Soon they would discover humanity's true strength. Commander Marcus Webb stood on the observation deck of Mars Colony Base Alpha, watching the red planet sunrise paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. It had been 6 months since Elena's last meeting with the Zephyrians, and things had been strangely quiet. No trade ships, no diplomatic visits, no communication at all from the Confederation. Marcus had been running security for the Mars colonies for 3 years. He was a big man with dark skin and kind eyes, but everyone who worked with him knew he was tough as steel when he needed to be. Right now he was worried. "Sir, we're getting some strange readings from the long-range sensors," Lieutenant Park said as she hurried onto the deck. She was young and smart, one of the best sensor technicians in the colony. Marcus followed her to the command center, where screens showed the space around Mars and Earth. What he saw made his blood run cold. Dozens of red dots were appearing at the edge of the solar system, moving toward Earth at high speed. "How many ships?" Marcus asked. "Over 300, sir," Park said, her voice shaking. "It's the biggest fleet we've ever seen. Some of those signatures are massive, way bigger than anything the Confederation has shown us before." Marcus grabbed his communication headset and contacted Earth immediately. Admiral Chen's face appeared on his screen and he could see the worry in her eyes. "We're tracking them too, Marcus," she said. "The whole fleet is heading straight for Earth. This is what we've been waiting for." On the main screen, the alien fleet continued to grow as more ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Marcus had seen Confederation vessels before, but these were different. They were built for war, with thick armor and massive weapon systems. The largest ships looked like flying cities, bristling with guns that could level mountains. "They're not even trying to hide their intentions," Marcus said. "This is a full invasion force." Admiral Chen nodded grimly. "Our spies in the Confederation were right. They've been planning this for years. While we were playing the role of grateful primitives, they were building an army to conquer us. The alien fleet took position around Earth, forming a perfect sphere that blocked all escape routes. Marcus counted the ships on his screen and felt his heart sink. Even with humanity's secret weapons, this was going to be a terrible fight. Then the communication came. Every screen in the solar system suddenly showed the same image: a Zephyrian in a military uniform standing on the bridge of a massive warship. Marcus recognized him as Fleet Admiral Kethvar, one of the Confederation's most feared military leaders. "Humans of Earth." Kethvar's translated voice echoed across every human settlement. "I am Fleet Admiral Kethvar of the Confederation 3rd Conquest Fleet. Your time of pretending to be important is over." The alien's black eyes stared coldly from the screen. Behind him, Marcus could see dozens of other alien species in military uniforms: the Zephyrians, the insect-like Vrex, the floating energy beings called the Keth. The Confederation had brought representatives from all their conquered races to witness humanity's defeat. "For 15 years, you have been useful to us," Kethvar continued. "You provided minerals and food while we studied your pathetic defenses and primitive technology. Now we no longer need to pretend friendship. You will surrender immediately and accept Confederation rule." Marcus felt anger building in his chest. All those years of trade meetings and cultural exchanges had been a lie. The aliens had been planning to enslave humanity from the very beginning. "Your new role will be as workers in our mining operations," the alien admiral said. "Your major cities will be converted to processing centers. Your leaders will be replaced by Confederation governors. Those who cooperate will be allowed to live in designated human zones. Those who resist will be eliminated." The screen showed images of other planets the Confederation had conquered. Marcus saw cities reduced to rubble. Populations herded into camps, once proud species working as slaves in alien factories. This was what they wanted to do to Earth. "We know you have approximately 12 defense platforms and 30 cargo vessels modified for combat," Kethvar said, with what might have been amusement. "These toys will not protect you from the might of the Confederation. You have 72 hours to surrender unconditionally. If you refuse, we will demonstrate why 300 civilizations have chosen to submit rather than face our weapons." The transmission ended, and Marcus stared at the blank screen in shock. 72 hours. 3 days to decide the fate of all humanity. His communication system buzzed with an incoming call from Admiral Chen. When her image appeared, Marcus was surprised to see her smiling. "Admiral, did you hear what they just said?" Marcus asked. 300 ships, and they're giving us 3 days to surrender or die." "I heard every word," Sarah said. "And they made several important mistakes. First, they told us exactly how many ships they brought. Second, they revealed their tactical positions. And third, they gave us 72 hours to activate Protocol Omega." Marcus had heard whispers about Protocol Omega, but had never been told what it was. "What's Protocol Omega?" Sarah's smile grew wider. "It's the moment we stop pretending to be weak and show the galaxy what humans are really capable of. Marcus, I need you to prepare your people for what's coming. In 3 days, this solar system is going to become a battlefield." Across the Mars colony, alarm systems began to sound. Marcus watched as his people moved quickly to their emergency positions. They had drilled for this moment hundreds of times, but no one had really believed it would come. Outside, the alien fleet hung in space like a cloud of death. The largest ships were bigger than anything humans had ever built, or so the aliens thought. Their weapons could turn planets into ash, and their shields could stop any known attack. But Marcus remembered something Admiral Chen had said months ago during a secret briefing. The enemy's greatest weakness is often their overconfidence. They think they know everything about us, but they've only seen what we wanted them to see. On Earth, hidden sensors tracked every alien ship. Deep beneath the oceans, massive doors were beginning to open. On the far side of the moon, construction crews were removing fake mining equipment to reveal weapon platforms that had been hidden for years. The countdown had begun. In 72 hours, the Confederation would learn the truth about humanity. They had come expecting to fight frightened primitives with outdated weapons. Instead, they were about to face the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Marcus looked out at the red Martian landscape and thought about his home on Earth. His wife and daughter were down there, probably scared by the alien threats, but they didn't know what he knew. They didn't know about the ships hidden in the deepest ocean trenches, or the weapons that could bend space and time, or the thousands of human warriors who had been training for this moment their entire lives. The aliens had made their choice. They had revealed their true nature and threatened everything humans loved. Now they would face the consequences. In less than 3 days, Fleet Admiral Kethvar would discover that his primitive enemies had been preparing for this war longer than he had been alive. The Confederation was about to learn why it was a bad idea to anger humans. Captain Lisa Rodriguez gripped the arms of her command chair as the countdown reached its final minutes. Around her, the bridge of the destroyer Unbroken hummed with quiet energy. Her crew of 45 had trained for this moment for 5 years, but none of them had ever seen real combat. 60 seconds to deadline, reported her navigation officer, Ensign Kim. The young woman's voice was steady, but Lisa could see the tension in her shoulders. Lisa looked at the main screen, which showed the massive alien fleet surrounding Earth. For 3 days, the Confederation ships had waited for humanity's surrender. They had sent threatening messages every few hours, promising quick death for those who cooperated and slow torture for those who resisted. What they didn't know was that Lisa's ship wasn't hiding behind Earth's weak defense platforms. The Unbroken was floating in a hidden bay 3 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean, along with 49 other destroyers in the same class. They were part of humanity's first strike wing, designed to hit fast and hard when the war began. "All ships report ready, Captain," said Commander Torres, Lisa's second-in-command. He was an older man who had served in the Earth Navy for 20 years, back when it was just a small force that protected shipping routes between Earth and Mars. 30 seconds, Kim announced. Lisa opened a communication channel to Admiral Chen, who was commanding the battle from the flagship Terra's Wrath. The Admiral's face appeared on a small screen, calm and determined. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Chen." Sarah's voice echoed through every human ship. "Today we stop pretending to be weak. Today we show the galaxy who we really are. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every species the Confederation has enslaved and every world they plan to conquer in the future." Lisa felt her heart beating faster. Through her ship's sensors, she could detect the alien fleet above, 300 warships including massive dreadnoughts that had destroyed entire star systems. But she also sensed something the aliens didn't know about, the hidden human fleet rising from the depths. "Time's up," Kim said quietly. High above, Fleet Admiral Kethvar opened a communication channel to Earth. His translation device made his voice sound cold and mechanical as it reached every human settlement in the solar system. "Your time is over. Humans," he announced, "since you have not surrendered, we will now demonstrate the price of defying the Confederation. Target their largest cities first. Show them what happens to primitives who think they can resist us." Lisa watched as the alien ships began to move into attack formation. Their weapons started to glow as they charged up for the bombardment of Earth. In a few minutes, billions of humans would be dead. That's when Admiral Chen gave the order that changed everything. "All units, activate Protocol Omega. Let's go to work." The ocean floor beneath Lisa's ship split open like a giant mouth. Massive hydraulic systems that had been hidden for 15 years lifted the Unbroken toward the surface. All around the planet, similar scenes played out as Earth's true military power revealed itself. Lisa's destroyer broke through the waves into sunlight for the first time. She was a beautiful ship, sleek and deadly, with armor that seemed to bend light around it and weapons that glowed with barely contained energy. The Unbroken was twice as fast as any Confederation vessel and, armed with technology the aliens had never imagined. "Holy," Ensign Kim whispered as her sensors showed what was happening around the globe, everywhere. Human warships were rising from the depths. The Pacific Fleet emerged from underwater bases that had been disguised as research stations. The Atlantic battle group surfaced from trenches that the aliens thought were empty. Even the Arctic Ocean revealed hidden launch bays filled with carriers and battleships. But the most shocking sight was the Terra's Wrath itself. Admiral Chen's flagship was 4 miles long, bristling with weapons that could crack moons in half. It had been built inside a hollowed-out seamount in the mid-Atlantic, invisible to alien sensors for over a decade. "Enemy fleet is in shock, Captain," reported Lieutenant Zhang from the sensor station. "Their formation is breaking up." I don't think they were expecting this. Lisa could understand why. The aliens had come to fight a few dozen primitive ships. Instead, they were facing over 800 advanced warships that made their technology look ancient. "Captain Rodriguez," Admiral Chen's voice came through the communication system. "Take your wing and hit their right flank. Show them what human destroyers can do." "Roger that, Admiral," Lisa replied. She turned to her crew. "You heard the order. All ships follow my lead. Let's introduce ourselves to our new friends." The Unbroken accelerated toward the alien fleet faster than any ship should be able to move. Lisa's crew barely felt the force because of the gravity control systems that human engineers had perfected years ago. Around her, the other destroyers in her wing moved in perfect formation, their hulls shimmering like liquid metal. The first alien ships to react were a group of Zephyrian cruisers. They fired their plasma cannons at the approaching human vessels, beams of energy that could melt through 10 feet of steel. The weapons struck the Unbroken directly and did absolutely nothing. "Shields holding at 100%, Torres reported with satisfaction. "Their weapons can't even scratch our armor," Lisa smiled. Human scientists had spent years studying alien weapons and developing defenses against them. Every shot the Confederation fired just made their shields stronger. "Return fire," Lisa ordered. "Target their command ship first." The Unbroken fired a single shot from its main plasma lance. The weapon used technology based on the core of stars, creating a beam of energy that moved at the speed of light. It struck the alien cruiser exactly where Lisa had aimed, right through their bridge. The enemy ship exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth. "Direct hit," Kim shouted. "Their shields didn't even slow us down." Around Lisa's destroyer, the other human ships opened fire. Beams of coherent energy and streams of antimatter tore through the alien formation like paper. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were destroyed in seconds. The aliens tried to fight back, but their weapons were useless against human shielding technology. Worse, the human ships moved like nothing they had ever seen. Lisa's destroyer could change direction instantly, appear and disappear using short-range teleporters, and attack from angles that should have been impossible. "Captain," Zhang said, his voice filled with amazement, "the enemy fleet is retreating. They're trying to get away from us." Lisa looked at the main screen and saw Confederation ships fleeing in every direction. These were vessels that had crushed entire civilizations, and they were running away from a fight they had started. But Admiral Chen wasn't going to let them escape so easily. "All fleet units." "This is the Admiral." Sarah's voice rang through the human fleet. "Pursue and engage. Don't let a single one of them reach the edge of the system. Today we send a message to the entire galaxy. Earth is not helpless and humans are not prey." Lisa felt a fierce joy as her destroyer chased down fleeing alien warships. For 15 years, humanity had pretended to be weak while building the most powerful military force in known space. The aliens had thought they were coming to crush frightened primitives. Instead, they had awakened sleeping giants. The battle that the Confederation expected to last minutes was turning into a complete disaster for them. Their mighty conquest fleet was being torn apart by enemies who fought like nothing they had ever faced. As the Unbroken destroyed its fifth alien ship in 10 minutes, Lisa realized something important. This wasn't just a battle for Earth's survival. This was the moment when humanity announced to the galaxy that the age of Confederation dominance was over. The hunters had just become the hunted. Colonel Jake Martinez led his Marines through the smoking corridors of the Zephyrian battleship Dominator. His power armor made him 8 feet tall and strong enough to rip through metal doors with his bare hands. Behind him, 24 of Earth's finest soldiers moved like deadly shadows through the alien vessel. The battle in space was almost over. Admiral Chen's fleet had destroyed or captured most of the Confederation ships in just 3 hours. The aliens who had come to conquer Earth were now prisoners or debris floating in the void. "Command center should be just ahead, Colonel," Sergeant Williams said through the armor's communication system. She was Jake's best soldier, tough as nails and smart as a whip. Her sensors showed the layout of the alien ship, highlighting areas where survivors might be hiding. Jake nodded and signaled his team forward. Their mission was simple: capture the enemy command staff alive and get information about Confederation military operations. Admiral Chen wanted to know everything about their enemies before the next phase of the war began. They found Fleet Admiral Kethvar in his command center, surrounded by the bodies of his officers. The tall Zephyrian was wounded but still alive, his silver blood leaking from cuts on his arms and face. When he saw the human soldiers, his black eyes filled with something Jake had never seen in a Confederation officer before: Fear. You. Kethavar whispered through his translator. How is this possible? Your species was supposed to be primitive. We studied you for years. Jake removed his helmet, revealing a scarred face and brown eyes that had seen too much combat. He was 45 years old and had been fighting humanity's secret wars since he was 20. You studied what we wanted you to see, Jake said calmly. While you were watching our fake cargo ships and counting our empty defense platforms, we were building the most advanced military in the galaxy. You never bothered to look beneath the surface. The alien admiral tried to stand, but his injuries made him collapse back into his command chair. Around him, the bridge was a wreck of destroyed computers and smoking equipment. The Confederation has ruled for 800 years, Kethavar said weakly. We have conquered 300 worlds. Your pathetic species cannot stand against our full might. Jake smiled coldly. Your full might just got destroyed by one human battle group. We have 12 more fleets just like this one, and they're already moving toward Confederation space. This was partly true. Earth's hidden fleet was indeed massive, with ships stationed throughout the solar system and beyond. But Jake was also bluffing. He wanted the alien to think humanity was even stronger than they really were. Kethavar's translator made a sound like choking. Impossible. Our intelligence networks would have detected such forces. Your intelligence networks have been compromised for decades, Sergeant Williams said, as she secured the alien's hands with energy bonds. We've had agents inside the Confederation since before first contact. They've been feeding you false information while we learned everything about your military. Jake walked to the alien ship's main computer and connected a human data extractor to its systems. Within minutes, his people would have every secret the Confederation had tried to hide: fleet positions, planetary defenses, and most importantly, the locations of their slave worlds. Colonel, came a voice through his communicator. This is Admiral Chen, status report. Target secured, Admiral, Jake replied. We have the enemy commander and are downloading their database now. Should have complete intelligence in 15 minutes. Excellent work, Colonel. Bring the prisoner to the Terra's Wrath. I want to have a conversation with Fleet Admiral Kethavar about his government's future. Jake looked down at the defeated alien officer. 3 hours ago, this creature had been confident he would be governing conquered Earth by dinner time. Now he was a prisoner whose fleet had been completely destroyed. What will you do with us? Kethavar asked as Jake's Marines prepared to move him to the transport shuttle. That depends on how cooperative you and your friends decide to be, Jake said. We know about the slave worlds, Admiral. We know about the species your people have conquered and the billions of beings suffering under Confederation rule. That's going to change. Kethavar's black eyes widened in shock. You cannot mean to challenge the entire Confederation. Even with your advanced ships, we have thousands of worlds, millions of vessels. Had, Jake corrected him. You had those things. But your military doctrine was built around fighting primitive enemies who couldn't fight back effectively. You've never faced an opponent with better technology and superior tactics. Jake's data extractor beeped, indicating the download was complete. The device now contained detailed information about every Confederation military base, supply depot, and command center within 50 light-years of Earth. Besides, Jake continued as his Marines escorted the alien prisoner toward the shuttle bay. This was never just about defending Earth. Humanity has a problem with bullies, Admiral. We really don't like it when powerful people pick on those who can't defend themselves. Back on the Terra's Wrath, Admiral Chen stood in her command center studying the information Jake's team had captured. The intelligence was better than she had hoped. Complete fleet positions, defense plans, and communication codes for the entire sector. Dr. Emily Chang, the scientist who had designed most of humanity's advanced weapons, looked up from her analysis of the data. She was a small woman with gray hair and brilliant eyes that missed nothing. Sarah, this is incredible, Emily said excitedly. The Confederation has over 200 slave worlds in this sector alone. Some of these species have been under alien rule for centuries. Admiral Chen nodded grimly. During the battle, her fleet had intercepted dozens of Confederation messages calling for help from other sectors. Soon the galaxy would know that humanity had revealed its true strength. What's our tactical situation? Chen asked her operations officer. All enemy vessels in the solar system have been destroyed or captured, Commander Park reported. We lost 0 ships and suffered minimal casualties. The enemy lost their entire invasion fleet, over 300 vessels, Chen smiled. It had been a perfect victory, but she knew the real war was just beginning. The Confederation wouldn't ignore the loss of such a large fleet. They would send more ships, bigger fleets, deadlier weapons, but humanity was ready for that too. Activate the Prometheus Protocol, Chen ordered. I want our rapid response fleets in position within 6 hours. If the Confederation wants to escalate this conflict, we'll show them what human warfare really looks like. Across the solar system, hidden wormhole generators began to power up. These devices could open doorways through space itself, allowing human fleets to appear anywhere in the galaxy within hours instead of months. The technology was based on alien physics but improved by human engineering. Like everything else in Earth's military, it was better than anything the Confederation had ever seen. Ma'am, Commander Park said, we're receiving surrender broadcasts from Confederation installations throughout the sector. Word of our victory is spreading fast. Chen looked at the star map showing nearby systems. Red dots marked Confederation bases and slave worlds, while blue dots showed human fleet positions. Soon those red dots would start turning blue as Earth's hidden fleets moved to liberate every world the aliens had conquered. Send a message to all Confederation forces in the sector, Chen ordered. Tell them they have 24 hours to surrender unconditionally and release all enslaved populations. Any base that refuses will be destroyed. She turned to Dr. Chang. Emily, I want production increased on all our shipyards. If we're going to free the galaxy, we'll need more vessels. The scientist nodded eagerly. The automated factories on the far side of the moon can triple their output. We'll have 1,000 new ships within 6 months. Admiral Chen smiled as she looked at Earth through the bridge windows. Her beautiful blue planet looked peaceful and safe, just as it should. But now the galaxy would learn that humanity's peaceful appearance hid the soul of warriors. The Confederation had made the mistake of threatening Earth. Now, they would face the consequences of angering the most dangerous predators in known space. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck of New Haven Station, watching ships from 50 different species dock at the massive spaceport. 3 months had passed since the battle for Earth, and the galaxy had changed completely. Where once the Confederation's gray warships had enforced slavery across hundreds of worlds, now colorful vessels from liberated species carried messages of hope and freedom. The station itself had been built from the wreckage of Confederation battleships, turned from instruments of war into a symbol of peace. It's beautiful, said Captain Lisa Rodriguez as she joined Elena at the window. Lisa had been promoted to admiral after her destroyer wing's performance in the liberation campaigns. Her uniform now carried medals from a dozen grateful species. Hard to believe it's only been 3 months, Elena replied. When I was meeting with Trade Minister Vexthul, I never imagined we'd end up here. Through the window, they could see the Terra's Wrath docked at the station's main port. Admiral Chen's flagship had become famous throughout the galaxy as the vessel that had ended 800 years of Confederation tyranny. The Vrex delegation just finished their presentation to the Council, Lisa said. They want to build a memorial to all the species the Confederation destroyed. Apparently, they've been keeping records for centuries. Elena nodded sadly. The Vrex were an aquatic species that had been enslaved for their shipbuilding skills. When human marines had freed their homeworld, the fish-like beings had wept tears of joy for the first time in 300 years. How many worlds have we liberated now? Elena asked. 247, Lisa replied. The Corvin hive minds were freed yesterday. Colonel Martinez says they sang for 6 straight hours when they realized they were free. The liberation campaigns had been swift and decisive. Humanity's hidden fleets had appeared at Confederation bases across the galaxy, offering the same choice Admiral Chen had given at Earth: surrender and free your slaves, or be destroyed. Most had chosen surrender once word spread about what had happened to the invasion fleet. A soft chime indicated someone was requesting entry to the observation deck. Elena looked up to see Admiral Chen approaching, followed by a tall figure in robes that seemed to shift color in the light. Ambassador, Admiral Rodriguez, I'd like you to meet someone very important, Chen said with a smile. This is Zelandros, former chief scientist of the Zephyrian military. Elena stared in shock. She recognized the name from classified briefings. This was the Confederation deserter who had warned humanity about the invasion plans decades ago. Zelandros spoke through a translation device, but his voice carried emotions that Elena had never heard from a Zephyrian before. I have waited 40 years to see this day, he said softly. When I first contacted your species, I hoped you might survive what was coming. I never dreamed you would end the Confederation entirely. Your information saved billions of lives, Admiral Chen said. Without your warnings, we never would have had time to prepare. The alien scientist's head tentacles moved in what Elena had learned was a gesture of sadness. I am ashamed of what my people did. For centuries, we told ourselves that conquest was necessary, that weaker species needed our guidance. We were wrong. Elena walked closer to the window, where she could see representatives from dozens of liberated worlds working together on the station. Insectoid Vrex collaborated with gaseous energy beings called the Luminari. Former Confederation slave soldiers now worked alongside their liberators to hunt down the few remaining enemy strongholds. What will happen to the Confederation species who surrendered? She asked. The same thing that's happening to everyone else, Admiral Chen replied. They get to choose their own future. Some want to return to their homeworlds and rebuild. Others want to join the Free Worlds Alliance and help us protect the galaxy. Lisa pointed to a group of ships near the station's edge. See those vessels with the blue and silver markings? Those are Zephyrian volunteers who want to make up for their government's crimes. They're helping us locate the last hidden slave camps. Elena felt a warmth in her chest. This was what humanity had always dreamed of. Not conquest or dominance, but true cooperation between different species. The galaxy was finally becoming the peaceful community that science fiction writers had imagined centuries ago. There's something else you should know, Admiral Chen said quietly. Our deep space scouts have made contact with species beyond Confederation territory. Apparently, news of the liberation is spreading faster than we expected. Zelandros made a sound that his translator rendered as laughter. The Confederation was not the only oppressive empire in the galaxy. There are others, some even worse than we were. But they are all watching what happened here, and they are afraid. Elena understood immediately. Humanity hadn't just freed one sector of space. They had shown every enslaved species in the galaxy that their oppressors could be defeated. The revolution was spreading. A communication alert sounded and Admiral Chen activated a nearby display screen. Colonel Jake Martinez appeared, broadcasting from somewhere in deep space. Admiral, we've just liberated the Andorian system, he reported. That's the last major Confederation stronghold in this sector. The war is over. Elena felt tears in her eyes. It was really over. After 800 years of tyranny, the Confederation had finally fallen. What about the slave worlds? Admiral Chen asked. All freed, Martinez replied with a smile. The Andorians are asking if they can join the Alliance. Apparently they've been planning a rebellion for 50 years and are impressed that humans actually pulled it off. After the communication ended, Elena walked back to the window. Below them, New Haven Station bustled with activity as beings from across the galaxy worked together to build something better than what had come before. So what happens now? She asked. Admiral Chen joined her at the window. Now we do the hard part. Winning a war is easy compared to building a lasting peace. We need to help these species rebuild their worlds, restore their cultures, and learn to work together. The Free Worlds Alliance will be different from the Confederation, Lisa added. No one species in charge, no forced tribute, no slaves. Just free peoples choosing to cooperate for mutual benefit. Zelandros moved to stand beside them. Your species has given the galaxy something it has not had for centuries, hope. The young ones of my people speak of humans as heroes from legend, the ones who ended the long darkness. Elena smiled at that. We're not heroes. We just did what anyone should do when they see bullies picking on people who can't fight back. That, Admiral Chen said quietly, is exactly why you are heroes. Through the window, Elena could see Earth in the distance, a small blue dot among the stars. It looked so peaceful and insignificant, but she knew the truth. That tiny world had hidden the most powerful military force in galactic history, and when the time came, its people had used that power not for conquest but for liberation. A memorial was being planned on Earth to honor all the beings who had died under Confederation rule. The inscription would be simple. Those who mistake kindness for weakness do so at their own peril. Those who threaten our friends discover what Earth's children are truly capable of. The galaxy had learned an important lesson about humanity. They appeared peaceful and friendly, always willing to help and cooperate. But underneath that kindness was the heart of warriors who would fight to the death to protect the innocent. The Confederation had made the fatal mistake of thinking humans were weak prey. Instead, they had discovered that Earth's children were the apex predators who had been hiding their claws until the moment they were needed. Now, as Elena watched ships from dozens of worlds working together in harmony, she knew that the galaxy would never forget what happened when someone made the mistake of angering humanity. The age of oppression was over. The age of freedom had begun, and it had all started when aliens made the worst decision in galactic history. They had angered humans and forced Earth to unveil its hidden fleet.